Got an idea for a podcast and think you have the talent to make it a reality? Already have a podcast, but been thinking you could take it up a notch, but you're just not sure how to do it? Well, Toxic Entertainment has everything you need to go from podcasting to podcasting. Bring us your talent, your passion, and your best ideas. We'll bring to the table our state-of-the-art technology and comfortable facility, creative and professional staff dedicated to bringing your ideas to life, competitively priced packages to suit your goals and budget, and over 10 years of experience as a leader in the podcasting field. Toxic Entertainment offers quality and affordability that can't be beat. When you're ready to start your journey, Toxic Entertainment is here to help you reach your destination. Learn more at toxicentertainment.net or call 888-66-TOXIC to arrange a studio tour. That's 888-66-86942. Toxic Entertainment, where creativity meets passion. Like listening to Toxic Radio?
Goddamn right.
But don't forget, this is the 21st century. Join us in the social media world. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Pornhub.
Pornhub?
Ah, just kidding. Or am I? Toxic Radio. Get infected.
Looks like Toxic Radio gave up on our commercial.
They did. Said F those guys.
They said screw them. Get rid of them.
Get rid of them. Commercial's ass.
I like the commercial. I don't know who predicted all those things correctly, but I like the commercial.
We have to redo it anyway because we got a lot more stuff right since then.
It's fair. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about some of that tonight.
Yeah, we are.
The AL starting pitcher for the All-Star game. I'm your happy host, Gene Walzak, with a fresh beard trim. The NFL genius. To my right, I got the man, the myth, the legend, Uncle Shally.
Something new with you every week.
That's always something new. Why? You got to keep it fresh for the listeners at home.
Yeah.
Coming to us remote, we got Kent State's own, Cleveland's own, College Cottrell.
I don't know, Gene. I think my beard shave looks a little bit better.
You're lying. You're lying. I see Patches.
Ooh.
Patches O'Houlihan over
Patches
here.
O'Houlihan.
What's happening, Michael Robert Lafferty? Let's fucking go, boys. Joseph Jeffers. I'm with you. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. We got a huge show to get into. UFC. Talk about that. We got we're kicking off our kickers list. Our NFL list are back. Projections for the upcoming season. Our top 10 kickers. Cottrell coming in clutch with the graphic. We'll have our MLB All-Star lineups, what they should be without fan voting. Guys, I know All-Star games are for the fans, but fan voting should really not be a thing. But we'll get into that. We'll talk about that. And then we're going to talk about the Durant situation and a little Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield trade. He traded for a 5th-round draft pick, and they ate $9 million of his salary, while Sam Darnold got a 2nd, 4th, and 6th. I don't know who's going to start over there in Carolina.
It's going to be Baker.
The 1st and 3rd pick of that draft are now gone.
I just want to know how Cottrell feels about Jacoby or bust now becoming a thing.
All right, so Michael Robert Lafferty said, dude is visibly upset about Baker.
Who?
He said Cottrell's visibly upset about Baker.
I know.
Yeah.
Number one guy just left town.
QB1 is not on team anymore.
Nope.
All right, so we got to get into UFC. Let's start with that. UFC card, fight week, no Dana White. It was a dud. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I watched those fights expecting more. It was a dud of a card. That card stunk.
I mean, it wasn't great. I mean, the Volkanovski,
main card, yeah,
the Volkanovski fight was still good. It was just one-sided. But
Cottrell, who'd you give the 3rd round to?
Hey, I just said it was up in the air.
I'm kidding, bro. My point being is
the movie.
They had all right. So The Robbie Lawler fight, which I'll give some credence to, was fun round and a half.
Yeah, I got sloppy.
Pereira.
Then it was over.
Well, yeah, but
Let's talk about Pereira versus Strickland.
I
I don't know. Somebody went 3-0 on the card. Is it you? Is it me? I don't know. We'll find out. I had Pereira. Pereira by knockout. Pereira by knockout over Strickland. And that was a cold-hearted knockout. And we might get the rematch that the last Stylebender's been waiting for. The only person to beat Izzy twice. Probably one of the only people to beat him once. But
I think you're getting that next.
yeah, I think that's going to be the next fight. What
I
did you
don't
guys think of
there's
that
much
fight?
thought- There's
No,
not much
I
thought
agree.
behind that. I
That's
mean,
why
I
they
think
brought him to the
Alex
UFC.
is clear-cut the next number one contender. I think the rankings that came out, he was unranked before. Sean Strickland was at number 4, and Alex only moved up to number 6. I don't know how that's the case, but they got Paulo Costa, who hasn't won a fight in 3 years, still ranked ahead of him. But that's just how the UFC gets down, I guess. But I really like what I saw from.
Big win.
I get it, but when you go and beat number 4,
What-
4, you should go replace him. I mean, it's the same kind of deal with how Yuri was when he beat Dominic Reyes and what Hamzat was when he beat Gilbert Burns. It's the same just.
What did Strickland fall to?
Strickland's at 7 or 8.
So he's above him at least. At least they got that right.
Paulo Costa hasn't won a fight in 3 years, so I think they really fumbled the bag there. But from what I saw to Alex, I think just looking ahead to the next fight with Izzy is basically going to be going up against like a clone of himself. He's got this behemoth 6'4" guy who's a great kickboxer. I can't wait. I'm excited.
They're going to be able to sell the hell out of it because of their history. If you're not familiar, they fought twice in kickboxing. Izzy lost the first one by decision, got knocked out in the second one. So, I mean, when you watch all the behind the scenes and the promotion for the fight, I mean, that's what it's going to be. It's going to be the guy that's in Izzy's head that can beat him and so forth and so on. So the promotion for this fight will be good. I'm sure Izzy is going to be very outspoken about it. So I don't see how that's not his next fight.
So I'm going to give you my own recap of the two fights because I watched them both in lieu of this happening. The first time they fought, it was a bad decision. 100% is he won that fight. 100%.
I'd have to go back and rewatch it.
The second time they fought, Izzy was beating the crap out of him and got caught, which is understandable. Anybody can get caught in any type of ring. I think mixed martial arts with smaller gloves, this will not be as, I don't know, I don't think this will be as nice of a fight for him, Pereira, as it was in kickboxing. You have to deal with all aspects of fighting, not just kickboxing, when you fight UFC. I think Izzy is a lot more well-versed, and I think that he's evolved so much. Just, the fight they had was 6 years ago, I believe.
I don't disagree with anything you said. It's just I also think both of them at their core are kickboxers, and that's their base, and I think that's what you're going to see. I don't expect Izzy to go in there and start trying to wrestle or take people down. I think Izzy feels confident enough in his striking and his counterpunching game to go in there and just win the fight. He looked great again. I mean, he's looked real sharp after going to the light heavyweight and losing up there and coming back. Yeah, I mean, he's looked really good. So I would expect him to be a heavy favorite when those odds come out if they haven't already. I didn't look for it today, but
rumor has it though that Pereira came into Saturday night at close to 220. I think if Pereira is anything close to that being that heavy, if Izzy does decide to try to take it to the ground and things like that, I think it's going to be significantly tougher for him just dealing with a guy that heavy. Izzy came in the weigh-ins at 183.5. I don't think that was any like reason particularly for that. Like Izzy's just a small guy. Like it's not hard for him to shed weight, and I think he would probably go into that fight at like 190. So giving Alex the I guess the advantage is what you would say weight wise, I think that could play a huge part into that fight, and I'm curious to see how that's going to pan out.
Before looking it up, I want you to before looking it up, because we're going to look it up. Michael Robert Lafferty will probably put it on the wire line for us.
I thought you were doing
But guess what you think it is. Guess what you think it should be. All right, tell me what you think it should be versus what it is. Or if you think it should be the same.
I'd say minus like 280 somewhere in there.
For Izzy?
Minus 220 for Izzy.
Okay, so you're really close to mine. I would have said minus 320 for Izzy.
I didn't want to go into the threes. That was my first thought, though, so I won't be surprised.
Because if it's minus 320, it's probably plus 250, plus 240, plus 260. And I think that's what it should be. If you're taking on Izzy, Stylebender, guy that's been dominant in the 185 division for years at this point. What? Because he beat him in kickboxing 7 years ago?
I mean, listen, again, I'm, I'll tell you right now, I'm going to pick Izzy when that fight comes up.
100%.
But I don't want to say, I don't think it matters to like where it's a huge factor. I don't think it's inconsequential either.
No,
though.
the fact that somebody beat you twice,
Correct,
has 2 wins against you, it got to be in his mind.
Eventually, if that fight starts getting close or whatever, like then you start getting into like, is he seeing ghost type thing, and that's where it gets interesting. To Cottrell's point before though, if I'm Izzy, I want him in that cage 30 pounds heavier than me. There is no way in hell he's going to be as quick as Izzy than if Izzy's fighting that fight at 190. And again, if I think
nobody ever is.
Well, my point is, I think the weight factors in if either one of those guys were used to fighting on the ground or that was like their style. I think if that's a stand-up war and you're going in there 30 pounds heavier than Izzy, I think that's a huge advantage for Izzy.
So my point of saying that is I don't necessarily think Izzy's going to wrestle him or try to take him down. But there's a difference between MMA and kickboxing, and one of those things is dirty boxing. You don't get that in kickboxing. The clinch, being able to hold somebody against the cage and be in the clinch, which Izzy's really good at. He's also almost untouchable. Plus the glove difference in size, you can't take hits like you took with boxing gloves, kickboxing gloves, like you would with MMA gloves. It's just totally different. And if Izzy was tuning him up that much in a kickboxing fight, and then he gets caught, which is, that happens, you get clipped. Mm-hmm. Imagine if he tunes him up that much with MMA gloves. I'm very of the notion that the UFC did an amazing job of setting this up to be a great sell. But I think everyone, including everyone outside of Alex Pereira's camp, knows that who should win that fight, who will win that fight.
I will tell you this, though. If you're going to bet it, I would wait till it gets closer.
100, because he's going to get a ton of money.
There's going to be people are going to watch this build up and not know him and so forth and so on, and they're going to think he's going to have a shot to go in there, and it's going to drive Izzy's price down closer to fight time.
I agree.
I would wait.
What are the odds right now?
I just looked at, they're not on FanDuel. They have a lot of like future stuff on there. That is not up yet though, unless I missed it. But like they have stuff all the way as far as December, like the whole like Conor Michael Chandler rumored fight, stuff like that. But it's not on FanDuel, so it's probably somewhere else.
I'm gonna Google it right now, see if I can figure it out.
And they definitely planned that out perfectly, having them fight on the same card.
Correct.
I mean, Izzy didn't take too much damage, and Pereira was out of there before you could really blink. So
I found it. It's insane. It's absurd.
In which way?
It's way less than any of us said.
Wow. Was he like minus 185?
180.
Wow.
He's minus 180.
He's gonna be like 150 by the time bell time. Then that's crazy. Man,
no, because you probably have a lot of money coming on Izzy at the end.
You're gonna have to watch it. You'll at some point during the day of the fight, you'll have the dip, and you just gotta be ready to bet it.
Yes, sir. Let's talk about Volkanovski versus Holloway. I had it 5-0, and I don't think any of the rounds were close. I don't think any of the rounds were close. I don't think you could have gave him a 10-8 in any round, but it was definitely some rounds where you could think about it. Like, yeah, this is a lot of damage. Max, I think, all right, so I think Max, be that as it may, you have to sell a fight. I think Max did a way better job selling the fight with the things that he said. But I think if you're being honest with yourself, he talked himself into a corner with some of this. Oh, I found something about him. You're going to have to wait till fight night to see what I found on him. And things of that nature. I look at it like it was as one-sided as it gets. Volkanovski heard everything that was said. You didn't win the last fight. It was, you shouldn't have won that decision. And he's like, oh, yeah? I'm going to prove to you this 145 division is mine. And then I'm going to go to 155 and go for that belt. Volk looked impressive, dominant. I thought he would get a third-round stoppage. I really did. I was close to it because, honestly, I don't know how a doctor didn't step into that fight with the way Max's eye was. That was disgusting. But with that being said, Cottrell, you said 0 chance. It didn't go to the scorecards, and you were correct. It went to the scorecards, but a very lopsided decision, 50-45. I don't think any of us could have predicted it that bad.
No, I mean it was dominant, and it was dominant. Like you said, it was clear cut. There was no gray area. There was no ambiguity, and to have a guy in the division that's number one, and then again, Max Holloway is an incredible elite fighter. He's 1A. To have that much of a domination, between two fighters that you don't think are separated by that much was surprising to me. He was just better. He was a step ahead all night. He was clean. He got in when he wanted to. To Gene's point, landed a lot of significant strikes, pretty much whenever he wanted to. Holloway was on his back foot all night and just couldn't get off. Didn't find his timing. Couldn't find his range. And Volkanovski pretty much just picked him apart and did what he wanted to.
Even in dominant fights that I've seen before in the past, where, like, just for instance, Colby Covington, Jorge Masvidal, you've seen Jorge Masvidal catch Colby with a shot. There was not a time in this fight that you thought Volk was in any bit of trouble or Holloway caught him with a really clean shot that put him in trouble.
No, and it's just crazy because, if he does go up to 155 and stays there and never has to, like, vacate, or, he's not going to do both, like, Holloway's going to be your 145 champ.
Agreed.
And there's probably nobody in that division right now that can beat him. So it's that is why it's surprising to me that it was that one-sided. Because I think you start hearing again, you get casual fans are like, "Oh, Max is like overrated." He's not. He's not. He's not at all. He's an elite fighter. In my opinion, that is the best he's ever looked. Volkanovski.
He's looked better each fight though.
Yeah, he's that rare form where he's improving every time he gets in there, and that's scary. I mean, he's a great fighter. He's getting better. They're both elite, but he's I don't think you can have him anything lower than 2 for pound. And I mean, you could probably make an argument he's 1.
You can't take pound for pound from Kimura.
No, I mean it's going to depend on what's going to happen here. I mean Kamaru should, for all intents and purposes, walk through Leon. But if Volkanovski is going 155 and and he does somehow beat Oliveira or Islam, he's just starting to rack up names now. Like that's
if it's a big if.
It's a huge if. It's a huge if.
And I think that if we'll talk about that in a minute, but I think I don't give him that. If I'm Dana White, my next 2 fights I'm booking for Charles Oliveira. Well, it really depends on how it happens. If Charles beats Islam, I try to do everything I can to get Khabib out of retirement. Because that's all the smoke that's being talked about now. And then Khabib even said, if you get through Islam, then we have a conversation piece. He's kind of opened the door by saying that. I do everything I can to get a Khabib Oliveira fight. If Islam beats Charles, then I could see a Volk Islam fight. If it's very one-sided.
Oh yeah, if Islam beats Charles, then you're probably definitely never seeing Khabib ever again.
Correct. Yeah. This is my second coming.
That being said, I don't know. I'll lose respect for him if he comes back for that. I hate that. Like, if you're going to retire, then retire.
Can I be fair? He did say if one day someone, he's done everything he needs to do.
The right person.
Correct.
Bring me out.
Oliveira is not the right person. Oliveira's going to be.
Why isn't he?
Oliveira is going to be the right person because there's going to be a revenge factor if he beats Islam. That's all it is. Like,
no, I disagree with that.
That's false.
I think a lot of it
then why won't he fight him now?
A lot of it is the 155 though. Like, Charles Oliveira has gone through so many guys in that 155 division. There was nobody else left for Khabib to fight. Now with Charles Oliveira winning now and winning the belt and fighting other people, there's people there. There's people there that Charles has beat, and Khabib is like, all right, I've never beaten Charles. Let's fight him.
Okay, then fight him now.
Well, why because Islam Makhachev's his guy.
That's outside.
Exactly. He's training.
So
he's
Khabib
training
calls
Islam.
Dana,
Why would he jump him?
If Khabib calls Dana tomorrow and says, I want to fight him, who's fighting him?
Khabib is, but that's not the point.
That's my point.
Islam is his guy. So if Charles beats Islam.
All I said is the revenge factors into it.
Why would Khabib jump ahead of Islam out of
Correct.
nowhere? Like that would be like the most disrespectful thing ever to do. Like, especially if Khabib goes up and fights him, Islam would have to probably fight 2 more fights before he even sniffs a title shot.
I feel like Rocky training Tommy Gunn for that championship fight and be like, you know what, kid, I'm coming out of retirement to fight.
Right, that's the whole thing. He wouldn't do it unless he lost, and that's all I'm saying. That revenge factor plays into it.
But I don't think that's the only thing. No,
I agree with you.
It's that in the money.
There's a lot of it's gonna
be a lot of money. You're right.
I think it's that
Oliveira at 155 has been incredible.
Absolutely.
And,
I'm not arguing that.
I think it's that and the fact that he's essentially ran through the division, and you're going to have a debate of who's a better 155 guy.
Correct.
So Khabib would want to come back and prove that debate.
Correct.
Like, that's what I think it is. Like, I think Khabib cares more about greatness than he cares about money. I think money is obviously a thing. That's the thing with everybody. But
again,
I think
if it was
Khabib
greatness,
cares.
then he would do it now.
Well, no, because
that
if
fight's not signed.
if he trains Islam Makhachev and he got that guy ready for a title shot, and Islam goes in there and beats him, he goes, I trained this guy. Correct. There's no debate.
If that fight was signed right now, it'd be a different discussion.
But it's going to be signed.
We don't know.
And you would have to fight. So why would Khabib stop his guy that he's trained? Like, Bill, come on, you got to understand.
He's going to train him to fight somebody anyway. He's fighting somebody in a couple months. But
he could fight a champion, or he could fight Beneil Dariush at like ranking 4. Like, why would he? Come on, we know
because it's up to Dana. Because if Dana thinks he can get Khabib without doing that, it's you're also burning one less stone. Then
I think it's an extra fight.
It is
because you're going to sell Oliveira of Islam. It's easy sell. And then if Charles beats Islam, it's easy because watch, ready? If you sell,
why you're wrong.
Listen to me. If you sell Oliveira Islam and Charles wins, then you get Khabib out of retirement. If you sell Oliveira Islam and Islam wins, then you give Volk absolutely what he wants, and Volk walks into the Volk Islam champion versus champion. It works both ways for them.
It doesn't, because if you go Islam Oliveira and Islam wins, you never get Khabib again ever. Khabib sells more fights than any of those. Khabib involved in any of the 3, or either one of those fights sells more than any of the other 2 combined.
Can I tell you why you're wrong?
I just told you why you're wrong.
No, but follow. I'm gonna tell you why you're wrong.
Okay.
Khabib Nurmagomedov has headlined one successful pay-per-view card, and that was versus Conor McGregor. He does not sell fights. He's not a fight seller.
Coming back,
that's not what he is.
Coming back, he would. Coming back against Oliveira, he would. That's the whole. That's what you guys want to see. This is all projection.
I think Islam versus Volk would sell. I think Charles versus Islam would sell. I don't think that I think that if Charles beats Islam, you set up a huge fight with Charles versus Khabib. I think that's how you do it.
That's the biggest sell.
If Charles beats Islam.
Correct. And my point is, if you do that fight and Islam wins, you burn the Khabib card. You never get it.
No, but you have the Volk Islam card.
That's not going to outsell.
My whole thing with that though is that let's be real here with Khabib. Like, he doesn't make that much money in the UFC. I'm not saying he would make pennies on the dollar or anything like that, but let's be real here. The money in fighting Charles Oliveira isn't what will bring him out of retirement. Like, that's I don't think that's anything close to
agree with you.
being right.
He's going to make a lot of money for that fight.
I mean, relative to what though? Like, I don't think he would make.
That was one of the things he left.
Money
he said I have more than enough money now from what I've made that I never have to do anything ever again.
He does.
Correct.
He'll make over $10 million for that fight.
Which leads to my point that Khabib fights more for greatness than he does for money.
And all I simply said is the revenge factor is going to play into it.
Yes, but he also does not want anyone to make state claim is Charles just beat my guy that I trained, the guy that I said, all right, well, fine. Then you come in and fight me now. I feel like that's what it will be.
Then he shouldn't have quit.
Respect what he
did. There was fights left. He could have fought other people. They had other people coming in.
But I mean, it's not like he just quit out of nowhere.
Correct.
His dad was his coach.
He stayed. Okay. So all right. If you want to bring that into it, is his dad still dead?
Jesus.
I know.
Jesus.
He brought it up. That's the thing. He said, "I don't." He said, "I promised." He said, "True or false?" He said, "I promised my mom this was going to be it, and then I wanted to be with my dad. And when his dad passed away, he had no desire to fight. Which either one of those things have changed?
That happened.
Did anything change?
But do you know if he had any conversation with his mother since then?
Okay. So Mob said go fight. So if that's changed, that's fine.
You go defend Islam's honor.
When things like death happen, of course, like, your mind's all over the place. Like, and he was already in camp leading up to a fight. It's been a couple years since that happened. He could have had plenty of time to talk to his family, talk to his mom specifically. Hey, do you think that dad would think this is the right thing to do? Whatever the case may be. You make split seconds decision when things like that kind of tragedy happens for you.
He's not a split
You got time to get over
guy,
that,
dude. He literally, in every interview he's done since that, he said, "I'm keeping my word to my mother. I don't want to fight." And now all of a sudden that's changed. He hasn't said anything different publicly.
Said with the right, yes, he did.
The right person would bring
me out. He's always said that. Okay. That's why Dana White constantly talks to him about it. The only thing I want to talk about with the Izzy Cannonier fight, because it was a friggin' bore fest, was how great of an entrance was that.
It's the best entrance in MMA history.
Ever. Coming out to the Undertaker with the urn of Jared Cannonier. Like, that is stones, bro.
Here's the funniest part of that whole thing, though. When I know you don't watch wrestling, but here's the thing.
Vince McMahon was right there.
Vince, Steph, Triple H, and Pat McAfee were there.
And they didn't know.
No. I think they knew. But here's the best part. This is why I love Pat McAfee. So WWE's pay-per-view was in Vegas, but it was the night before. They did it on Saturday because they didn't want to compete with the UFC. So McAfee's angle, his character got hurt. That's why he had the neck brace on. He literally stayed in character, sucking down like rum and cokes on camera with Vince, Triple H, and Steph.
Oh, it's great.
The dude is a legend. I love him. I love him so much.
It was hilarious. It was not a fight.
No.
Stylebender dominated him the whole fight. Jared Cannonier, I think that Stylebender was being a little safe, making sure. But I understand.
He didn't want to get knocked out. He didn't want to get
Correct.
finished.
And that's the only way you lose to Jared Cannonier.
Correct.
You walk into a heavy right.
Yep. Listen, people, that he's fought that way almost his entire career. Like he loves the counterpunch. He's hard to hit, and he's a counterpuncher. That's what he's always done. There's no reason to go in and.
He's also walked in the ring with two of the biggest monsters ever in the 185 division between,
Yoel Romero.
Yes, Yoel Romero, bro. That guy's Jesus.
Juiced.
Oh, 100%.
To the gills.
And he's not been touched, not been clipped.
Rip.
Not been clipped.
Takes a while to load all those muscles up, man.
Can you throw RJ's comment up? I want Control to see it.
I saw it.
He said, I think Holloway got robbed. I had it 3-2.
Oh, God. RJ's trolling.
Yes. No, we were. He was watching the fight with me.
Oh, that's right. You guys were all at Adrian's.
Yeah, it was a good time. Good time. Control 40-19. You want to change it? Do you think the third round went one way or the other?
Well, once again, volume doesn't win you a round.
Oh.
Like I said, there was nothing definitive there.
They weren't.
I have no issue.
Though.
I have no issue saying Volk.
That was significant
every
strikes.
round. I have no issue saying that.
What did you have it scored?
No issue saying that.
What did you have it scored?
Do it.
49, 46, 50, 45.
Oh man.
So if you had it 49-46, what round did you give Holloway?
It had to be 3.
No,
Third.
but it wasn't 3. 3 was one of the most
he
lopsided rounds.
He just said 3.
That's
wrong.
because if you look at the numbers, if you actually watched the fight, like I know you did, then you would have saw that fight, like that specific round, 40-19, significant strikes. But if you actually were watching the fight, there was nothing crazy that happened that round. That was all I said.
Yeah, but okay, but then what did Max do
to win the
round?
Hey, I didn't say that it was definitive that Max won the round.
You just gave him the round.
I didn't once. If you go back and look
Control.
exactly what I said, I said it wasn't definitive that either one of them won the round.
Just walk
it back.
Bro.
I wanted Holloway to win, and he led with his face.
That's funny. He said that.
RJ.
That's funny.
RJ was rooting for Holloway.
Was he?
Yeah.
Listen, I know a lot of people like Max.
Max is awesome.
Again, he's a lead fighter, dude.
I pick who I think's going to win.
Arguably got hosed. I'll say this. Volk won the first fight, but of course, I agree. Me and Gene say it all the time. To be the champion, you got to beat the champion. And I thought that first fight was close enough that if Holloway had got it, even though on the scorecards I thought Volk won, I wouldn't have been mad. The second fight, I thought Holloway actually won the fight, and I know once again, same adage, Volk had the belt. To be the champion, you got to beat the champion. But I thought that fight was more convincing to me that Holloway had won than what the first fight was. And then the third fight, Holloway and Volk fought again, and Volk showed that, hey, we're putting to rest any inklings of doubt that you had, we're putting it to rest. And I'm good with that. Volk dominated the fight. I have no issue saying that.
Okay. Well, that's it for UFC. Any final comments? We got to move on.
5-0.
5-0. 100%. I think it was closer to 6-0 than it was 4-1. I'm serious. If you had to pick one.
Yeah, I can't do that with you.
I don't think it was 6-0. My point being is I think it was closer to being a 50-44 than it was being a 49-46. I don't think it was 10-8. I'm just saying I think it would be closer to argue that.
I would say it's probably closer, 49-46.
And that'd be round 1 would be the one you debate.
Could.
Okay. Not round 3. All right, let's move on. What are we getting next? Shall we?
We could do All-Star. We're doing All-Stars, I guess.
All-Stars? Okay. So we have our All-Star list. So I want to preface this, and I'll let Mike pick whatever list he wants to throw up first, NL or AL. I want to preface this by saying we picked who we think should be in the All-Star game starting, not fan vote. I think fans should get a vote in who goes to the All-Star game.
I think they need to come up with like a formula, like the fan vote counts for so-and-so. I think the players...
Percentage.
Yeah, and the players... Because I'll tell you this, the baseball guys in their defense are really good at like when it gets down to the players' votes and the managers' votes for, the last couple spots, they usually get it right. They usually get guys that are deserving to go and not necessarily like fan favorite guys. So... and the MLB also has the last runoff where fans decide the one like extra guy on each roster. So MLB actually does a very good job of creating rosters for the All-Star games.
I don't disagree. We got the AL. Edwin Lozano on there. What's up, brother? We're doing baseball. Perfect timing for you. Mets fan. But we have our AL starters here. I see that just the first time you're seeing this list for all you guys. I'm trying to run them through. Wow. I'm the only one who had J-Ram. Interesting.
I thought for sure Cottrell was going to have him.
I like
Alvarez.
I applaud your unbiasedness, Sean.
I was actually
Cottrell.
talking to me and Gene didn't talk about like what our actual rosters were going to be. But I was talking to Gene and I had a lot of time, and as great of a season I think J-Ram is having, and I think he's really keeping the Guardians afloat. Rafael Devers is just having a better season.
Okay. Let's go. Let's get into it. I have. We all have Alejandro. Well, no, we don't. How about we do this? If there's one where we have something different, let's talk about it.
Okay.
You have Christian Vasquez starting as starting catcher. We both have Alejandro Kirk. What led you to Christian Vasquez?
He's a little bit better defensively. I mean, he's their numbers are similar. Vasquez is a little bit, believe it or not, a little bit better pretty much in all the categories except I believe it's batting average. This was literally between both lists. This was my last pick. This is the one I went back and forth on this numerous times between him and Kirk. So you're splitting hairs here. I'm not attached to this pick by any means. So I mean, by the looks of the vote, Kirk's going to get it running away. So I'm not really that upset about it.
Okay. We all have Vlad Guerrero at first base, but that wasn't as easy as it looks.
For me, it was
France. What's first name? France. First name. Come on.
France.
Jesus. What's the guy's first name? But first base isn't as easy as it looks. Vlad Guerrero Jr. is the better player. He's going to get the vote, but Vlad Guerrero Jr. wasn't a walkthrough. Jose Altuve, we all have at second base. Tim Anderson, I have at shortstop. You guys both have Xander Bogaerts.
Oof.
Would you like my explanation?
Sure.
I think he's better. I hate Xander.
What? That's not.
It's a
that's
hater.
Not.
It's a hater explanation.
That's fine.
But he's not.
That's
but he's
fine,
not.
though.
But he's not even.
We're not arguing that.
Yeah, but he's not having a better year, and he's not a better player. But is this still like the old Seager Bogart tape?
This is exactly what it is. This is exactly what it is.
From like 18 months ago.
100%.
All right.
That's what I'm doing.
Bogarts dwarfs him in like every offensive category.
Not dwarf.
Well,
Not dwarf. I have him right here.
Batting average is going to be close. Batting average is going to be close.
Okay. Hits is close. Runs scored is close.
What's his OPS?
Let's pull it up. Got it right here.
I'm just saying he's ahead of him in everyone. So other than the hater pick, I don't know what your justification for this is.
779. Let me check Sanders. Look, I'm a hater, Xander. I'm
Okay,
very,
I mean, if that's all it is, that's fine. We can move on.
Hold on. His bat average is the same. And OPS 856.
Significant.
It's not that significant.
It's 80 points, bro. That's a lot.
All right, next. I don't know why you guys put. I'm not putting Yordan Alvarez in the outfield. I have him as my DH because that's where he primarily plays.
Are we skipping third base?
Oh yeah. I have J-Ram. You guys have Devers. Am I just a Boston hater? Is that what this is turning into?
It's starting to look that way.
No, but
if I'm not the one that has Jose
I
Ramirez,
want to give you some credence though.
Okay.
J-Ram has probably been the more valuable player this year because he's been such a key part of keeping that Guardians team afloat.
I'm
but
not
I just
agreeing with that. That's not what this is, though.
No, and I get that. But I think that would be a strong argument to where, and I think J-Ram is leading the AL in RBI. So like, it's not crazy that it's not crazy that J-Ram should start third base in the All-Star game. I just think Rafael Devers is having arguably an MVP caliber season so far, and it's just slightly better than what J-Ram's having.
The argument for J-Ram over Devers is way better than it is for Anderson over Bogarts.
I actually, the second person on my list would be Bo Bichette over Xander.
Second person on my list would have been Tim.
That's fine.
Tim's got better numbers than Bo does. I think Bo's going to start because of the popularity of the Toronto team. Bo's got a couple really good numbers, and he's got a couple really bad numbers. He's struck out over 100 times already this year. He's the lowest batting average of the three. He's at the lowest OPS too. So, for me, it would either be.
You notice I don't have one Red Sox starting. You have three.
You hate Boston.
100%.
I hate Boston, but I mean, again, I'm not. I'm
not being objective here.
Vasquez, no, you're not at all.
I don't want to be.
Hey,
it's just really hard. It's really hard to say Bogarts and Devers aren't all stars. That's all.
They're all stars. They're just not stars. And we'll find out what happens at the end of the vote.
We will,
because that's what really matters.
You don't care about that.
I know. I don't know why you guys put Yordan Alvarez in left field.
He plays left field sometimes.
He plays DH.
He plays left field sometimes.
He's the best DH in the American League. It's not close.
Well, he's my starting left fielder.
I want to start Ohtani too, but I can't do that because Yordan Alvarez is a DH. It's like saying Bryce Harper should start in right field. It's a big difference. With that being said, we both have Mike Trout and Aaron Judge. Those are the no doubt.
Wait.
Okay.
But if Bryce was the best, let's say if he was the best right field, like he had the best numbers out of all right fielders, and you put him there, and then you had a guy who DH some too, but they're having a killer year that's behind, like say Pete Alonso, for example. Like if he was primarily DHing with the Mets, you would want Bryce Harper in the lineup as well as Pete Alonso in the lineup, especially if you got Goldschmidt at first base. Like that's
no. I pick people based on their position that they primarily play. That's where me and you are going to disagree. Making an all-star game and being second string is not the end of the fucking world. Not starting in the all-star game.
I agree, but I want my all-star team to have the best roster.
I don't want my DH to be a guy that doesn't play DH, that doesn't DH. Pete Alonso's probably had 7 games at DH.
Hit. All you got to do is hit.
I don't disagree with you. I just feel like if you're the best designated hitter in the league, you should start at DH. That's what you do. And like, also small plug.
Prime example. Last year.
Small plug. And he's not from Houston. Why do you keep putting? This is the second time you put George Springer from Houston. He's not from Houston. He's in Toronto. Small plug. I did pick George Springer to be one of my top 10 outfielders, and I just wanted to kind of throw him in the All-Star game because he's a finalist, and I'm not that far off from being a top 10 outfielder.
Small
plug.
Your list is becoming very personal agenda heavy and very, very biased.
They're my list.
That's fair. Can I ask the other question? Why the hell is my list pink?
Well, because you
It's
lost
just
last
what
night.
you got.
All right, whatever.
That's what happens when you lose.
That's true. The blues aren't the same color.
Oh, Jesus. You're really picking it
No,
apart.
I'm just looking at
Did
it.
all this hard work, and this is what you're talking about?
Hard work. He's got George Springer in Houston. He hasn't been there in a decade. It's fine.
Jesus, Cottrell. Bring up the National. Oh, no, let's talk about McClanahan. No, I get my time to talk about McClanahan.
No, Gene's got to do his other plug here.
I got a plug. I got a plug. My AL Cy Young.
You're worse than a politician right now.
My AL Cy Young before the season started. Shane McClanahan. You know who's going to relieve him and be your number 2 pitcher? Dylan Cease, my long shot for Cy Young. That's the 1 and 2 in the AL right now, boys. It's going to be a long MLB year.
If they both pitch like 2 days before the All-Star game and they don't go.
I hate you.
I know.
Then Garrett Cole gets to start. That'd be great.
Oh, God. There we go. Between him and anti-Boston, your unrivaled Garrett Cole passion is bewildering
Bro,
to
like,
me.
are you a fan of Garrett Cole?
Low key loves Garrett Cole.
I like watching Garrett Cole. You know, Garrett Cole just
He's fun to watch.
he just pitched the gym against the Guardians.
He's a power pitcher, but you have a man crush on Garrett Cole.
I agree. Throw up the
Hey, I'm
National
here
League
for his redemption story. That's all.
redemption story.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, because you know his numbers got
he's
all
like,
messed up last year after the whole Eintar
Because he
stuff.
was cheating? Just kidding.
Everybody was doing it.
Yes. I love it. I love it. Oh, I didn't see this until right now.
He wasn't cheating.
I love this. I love this. I love this. Sorry. I didn't expect all you guys to have my boy Jazz Chisholm, second base. My guy, threw him up there number 7 on the second baseman's list. Love that you guys all put him there. Me and Cottrell have Wilson Contreras. You have Travis d'Arnaud. I don't disagree with that. I think that's a coin flip. We certainly don't agree on catchers anymore, so that's a weird thing.
Apparently not. I'm more passionate about this one than I am the other one.
God, give me your passion.
No, I think Travis is like undoubtedly deserved to start this year. I mean, Contreras, I think, is hitting like 220. Travis is actually having a really, really,
I don't know
really.
about that one.
He might be like 240. It's probably. Listen, I love Wilson Contreras, dude. He's fun to watch behind
I
the
love
plate.
fact checking on the spot.
He's legit a career like 245 hitter. Like that's what he is. He'll hit a really, really nice bomb now and then. He's gonna hit like 18 to 20 home runs a year. He's great defensively.
Batting
274.
274.
Okay, what's an Arnold batting?
13 homers, and he's better defensively. But let's check Travis d'Arnaud. I just can't believe you just said 220. You were 54 points off.
He's hot right now. I guarantee he ends up around 250. He's
He
literally.
might.
He's
But
like,
that's not what we're doing.
264.
What?
All right.
Travis is
there you
at
go.
264.
This is a no-brainer.
All
I'm
right.
kidding. I'm just being an asshole. I love messing with Charlie. It's so fun. We all got Goldie. That's a no-brainer. He's the MVP.
Right now he is.
Okay. Jazz, Trey. There's an argument against Trey Turner, though. We swept the board with him.
Yeah, I mean, you can make an argument. I just don't think he's having a better year than Trey Turner either.
Cottrell, I love that you gave Nolan Arenado. Would you like to talk on that? I love that, by the way.
Yeah,
I hope you're right.
That was my second.
I mean,
to
I
last
think
pick.
He's my second,
obviously we all know Nolan is better defensively, and then the numbers that he's putting up on the offensive end. I mean, he's batting almost 300. He's got 17 home runs. Like, I just think total package wise, I just value him a little bit more than what I do with Manny. And the crazy thing about that is, once again, you got Manny Machado and Nolan, just like third baseman on the AL side. Manny Machado is probably one of your top 5 guys for MVP right now. So it's just I think it's just a tight battle, and I slightly give the edge to Nolan Arenado.
Manny is like right on Nolan's heels defensively, though.
Yeah, Manny's very good.
Manny-
But he's not right on Nolan's heels. That's like,
No, he really is.
he's good. Very good. He's like third best in baseball.
I mean, like, if Nolan Arenado's not winning the Gold Gloves in the NL, it's Manny Machado. Like, that's where. Okay, so he's right behind him. Okay,
it's a distance, a little distance.
Go ahead, Nate.
Because you're 2 doesn't mean you're right behind all the time.
That's a fair point.
It's close. It's a lot closer than either one of you are giving him credit for right now.
We can ask the Buffalo Bills and Miami Dolphins
defensively.
how number 2 worked out in the AFC East for 10, 15 years.
It's close to being the same thing.
Our outfields look very similar. Me and you, Cottrell, have Jock Peterson. Shally has Schwarber. I think Schwarber, I understand that because of the home run numbers, and he's been hot recently. He's batting 220 still, 219.
Get it.
25 home runs is a lot, though. I hope he's in the home run derby.
I think he will be, which means he's going to hit 4 in the second half for us because that's what always happens. I mean, he's leading all. I mean, listen, to lead NL outfielders in home runs, RBIs, and OPS. Listen, trust me, I get the average thing, but I don't think you can ignore it. I think you have to reward guys for what they've done, not necessarily name recognition and stuff like that. So
I don't think Jock's name recognition.
Jock's a popular player, dude.
No, he's a very popular player, but Schwarber is too. I like the popularity is the issue. I think the 70 points in batting average is the issue I have.
All right.
And the fact that Schwarber's a terrible outfielder. Now, Jock's not much better.
No, Jock's awful too.
He's just terrible outfielder.
So do you want maybe an extra single, or do you want
3 strikeouts and a home run?
Right. It's an all-star game. I want to see bombs, babe.
Bombs. Just call me babe.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it. Shally's calling me babe now.
Babe.
We're rolling now.
It's bombs, bro.
I also, Cottrell broke my golden rule. Put Pete Alonso, who, by the way, is 100% number 2 in the National League in NL MVP consideration, in my opinion. What he put him as is DH. I don't agree with that. He doesn't play DH. I don't agree with that. I understand you see it differently than I do. I just have like this weird feeling that the majority of your games should be at the position that you're playing. And in any other position in the whole field, you can't do that.
No, I get it. I did it for the AL, the NL.
But
the NL,
essentially, you could put anybody you want at DH any game you feel like it. It's not like you could just go stick your first baseman and put him at short and expect the same results. Like DH is different than.
Can you put your left fielder in right? Can you put your second baseman in short?
That's what I'm saying. It's different.
So
you can put anybody at DH though. You can put anybody at DH is my point.
You could put
any
your
game
shortstop
and it
at
not
second
be like a
base.
drop off in your roster.
So, like, if you have 2 really good shortstops and not a great second baseman, can't you just, it's really good shortstop, put 8 games at second base, we'll just move him there.
That's the one instance that you could do that, correct.
Third and first?
But in 100% of the time, you could move anybody in your lineup to DH and be perfectly fine.
All right, let me ask you a question real quick. If Alec Bohm was batting 340, right? He's amazing, killing the ball, 30 home runs, and Manny Machado and Nolan Arenado are still at third base, and Alec Bohm played 11 games at first base. You want to start him? Like, because he played 11
DH.
games? No, but it's the same
Apples to
thing.
oranges.
They play different positions.
It's not. DH is anyone can play DH. Once again, anyone, literally anybody can DH for you any given day.
Roman Quinn can't DH. Sorry, I just had to throw in a little dig at Roman Quinn. I don't know why. It just came to me, but
he deserves it.
can I tell you something right now?
Reese Hoskins there.
Stop.
I understand Tony Gosselin being your starting pitcher, Cottrell. Let me just say that. He's 10-0. He's got a 1.5 ERA. And any other year in the entire world, and he still probably will get the start. Let me just be clear. Sandy Alcantara is a better pitcher. Pitches way more innings. He has way more quality starts. And it's like splitting hairs at this point. Like, I originally sent you my list. What did it have on it, Cottrell? Tell the listeners.
It had Alcantara, Gosselin right next to each other. Just split it up. Pick your poison, whatever you want to do.
Because I believe that. To me, this is 100. But the way I look at it is when your pitchers are this close. Because I think if Gosselin pitched as many innings as Alcantara did, obviously his ERA would
be different. Yep.
If he didn't play on the Dodgers, I don't think he'd be 10-0. If I'm being clear. So it's splitting hairs to me.
I somewhat disagree with that.
How?
Maybe because
if he played on the Marlins, he'd be 10-0.
Maybe because he act like he's going out there giving up a whole bunch of runs. Like he's going to pitch six. He's going to pitch six innings for you, and he's going to give up one or no runs. Like
that was the only thing I was going to.
You could win with other
like,
MLB teams in the lineup with that.
It's not like
you just can't have your bullpen fall apart.
If he was 10-0 and his ERA was like 3.5, I would obviously tend to agree with you because then he's probably winning games because of that Dodgers offense, winning games like 6-5. To Cottrell's point, he's
1.5 ERA. I get it.
He's legit going out and pitching 5
but he's not seeing a team for the third time ever. Alcantara sees a third batter. So the numbers in Major League Baseball, when you see a guy for the third time, are significantly better throughout the whole league.
Yes, they're also different kind of pitchers. Gosselin, and again, this goes to your point. Gosselin pitches to contact. He's a ground ball pitcher. Alcantara's a power pitcher. He wants to try to strike people out. Alcantara you can risk going through the lineup the third time because he still has a strikeout factor. Gosselin's not going to start blowing guys away in the 6th or 7th.
Agreed.
So but to Cottrell's point, he's pitching 5 or 6 innings every game, maybe giving up a run. So it's not like are there games when he leaves the game in the 6th and they're up 8-0? Yeah, probably. There probably is. But he's not leaving in the 5th every night and they're winning 6-5 and he's just getting lucky on a decision.
First of all, I told you it's like splitting hairs with these two. What made my decision for Sandy Alcantara was simple. I think Sandy Alcantara just pitches. Yeah, agenda. That's it. He's got it. He's got it. Ring the bell, shall we? Come on. No, it's not agenda. It's more of the fact that he pitches a lot more strenuous innings. He pitches a lot deeper into the game. And for him to have a 1.74 ERA in that situation with Miami, you don't have all-star MVP caliber players defensively all around you either. Just to be clear, I'm sure Mookie Betts and Trey Turner and those guys have saved a run or two. Not only is, the reason I love the way the Dodgers team is built is not only are they built to mash the ball, they're probably plus defenders at 6 out of 9 positions. 6 out of 9. I did the numbers earlier.
1, 2.
He's just slowly going through it. Freddie's a plus defender.
I start with Freddie. Freddie's the given. He's a Gold Glove winner. Freddie.
Trey's a plus defender.
Trey's plus.
Mookie, of course.
Mookie's 3. Will Smith's a little bit above average. I wouldn't call him plus.
Plus means above average, 15.
Plus is like plus. Like there's great. There's great.
Correct, yes.
Plus is like plus.
The average is based on.
If average was 65 and you're a 68, that's not, you're above average. It doesn't make you plus.
Okay, so you're talking about plus statistically. I follow. Yeah. I'm talking about plus as in 32 teams in the league. He's top 15 defensively.
Yeah, I mean, he's probably. Okay. If you're going off that, then yeah, you're probably like around 6. If you're going actual like analytics plus, they're probably 4, maybe 5.
Well, anything else you want to say on the lists?
No, there's a lot of similarities. I was hoping somebody was going to be like all over the board.
Oh, don't worry. We'll kick it off with the NFL kickers soon.
Ooh.
Throw up the kickers list. We got to give it a preview. Hold on, before you throw it up. Preview. We do this every year. We are previewing the 2022-2023 NFL season. We will start with kickers, and then we will, each week, we'll get a different position. Top 10 at their position. Projections for 2022-2023. So there's no wrong answers yet.
There's wrong answers. Don't lie to the people.
Okay. Well, we say that.
Maybe not with the kickers.
We say that. When Dante was on the show, and he had Cooper Kupp like 6, and we were like, oh, no, it's crazy you have him in the top 10, and he finishes the number 1 wide receiver in the whole league. You got to give him credit. It's not a wrong answer until it's wrong. They could be wrong next year this time. I looked back at every one of our lists last year. Did we nail them all? No. Impossible. It's impossible to nail them all. But I will say this. If you took a player in the top 5, the only player that was a number 1 at their position that we did not have in our top 5 was Cooper Kupp. The only one. The only one out of every list we had. Think about it. It's wild. But let's get into the kickers list. We'll start with that.
This is the easiest number one that there is.
Oh, yeah, we're not going to talk about number one. Let's start at 10 and go. Did you really put a tie for kickers?
I did.
Shally, start with your list.
Analytics, baby.
Go 10 through 1, just kind of like we do it.
Jake came off 2 years ago, wasn't the best. Jake had a really good rebound year last year. I think the Eagles are going to score a decent amount of points this year. I think he's going to score well. He's a reliable kicker. I mean, I don't think he's top tier elite, but he's reliable. He's very good. I think he only missed 3 kicks last year, 1 or 2 extra points. It's going to put you in the top 10. Jason Myers, I love. Kicks in Seattle. Always kicking in the elements is not easy. He does a very good job. Underrated leg. I put him at 10. I didn't want to leave either one of them out. Will Lutz dropped on my list from last year. He was hurt a little bit last year. He gets the benefit of the doubt of obviously playing a bunch of his games in either really nice weather or in a dome. So he's always going to be here. And on top of that, he's just a very good kicker. Jason Sanders, I had on my list last year as well. Miami, and kicks in good weather most of the time, except for the end of the year if they got to travel to New England and Buffalo and places like that. Very good kicker, young, just getting better. I think he'll be on this list for a long time to come. Tyler Bass was not on my list last year. I got him number 7 this year. Kind of had a breakout year for Buffalo. They were going through a bunch of kickers for a couple years. He kind of came in last year, won the job late, and ran with it. Had a great year, made a bunch of big kicks for them down the stretch, excuse me. And Buffalo, we've all seen, where, you couldn't throw the ball 10 yards downfield, let alone try to kick it. So Buffalo is not an easy place to kick.
Definitely
not. Chris Boswell, I have number 6. Pittsburgh. 2 years ago, he had an atrocious year, atrocious. Everybody in the city wanted him cut. I will give Mike Tomlin credit. He stuck with him and literally had hard questions about him at press conference. Said, I see the dude kick in practice. He's talented. I know what we have here. He's just got to get his shit together. He had a great year last year.
Great year.
Crazy thing about Chris Boswell is overall accuracy-wise, he's the 4th most accurate kicker in the history of the NFL. And that is with him having the year last year, 2 years ago, where he only made 68% of his kicks.
It's wild. And the thing about what he did last year in Pittsburgh, in those games that are muddy, freezing, raining, wind.
Yep.
Those are how I project kickers, but I'll get into that more when we get into ours.
Yeah, I'm gonna touch on it with the last 2 guys. Well, even the last 3 guys, to be honest. But you take that year away from Boswell, he's right behind Tucker, accuracy-wise. He's a very good kicker. Matt Gay I had on my list last year as well. He's up a little bit higher this year. Rams kicker, kicks in a gorgeous stadium. Kicks in a lot of really good weather. Great leg, live leg, has good distance. Kicked one over 60 last year. Another young guy.
You know what's funny about Matt Gay? He's the best kicker in the league if it's not for one game last year. He had a 2 for 5 game versus Tennessee. And if you take those, I'm sorry, accuracy-wise.
Yeah.
If you take that game away, it's absurd. He had a really bad one game. Other than that, I think he had the most points out of any kicker. It was either him or Carlson. It was very close. Points-wise.
They're close, and I think it was Gay. And, again, he's going to score well again this year because, that Rams offense is going to score. Carlson was a guy me and you both liked a lot last year. We had him higher than Cottrell did. I'm up further on my list again this year. Kid's a stud, and he's young. Revamped Las Vegas team. They're going to be better. They're going to score more. You get another one. Gets the kick in really good weather most of the year, except until the very end. Inside for his home games, controlled climate, very good kicker. These last 3 guys to me are a little bit above everybody else. Not a huge leap, but there's a separation for me. Harrison Bucker, Buffalo is horrible to kick in the winter. Pittsburgh is as well. KC's right up there. It gets frigid cold. Balls are rock hard. And he made a bunch of clutch kicks. Crazy stat about him is he is the only kicker in history to kick 2 48-yard plus field goals in the same Super Bowl. That's how pressure-packed it is for that. He holds that distinction. He's number 3 for me this year. Again, Kansas City's offense scores all the time, so fantasy-wise, he's going to score a ton of points. Number 2 for me, Evan McPherson, Money Mac. burst onto the scene last year. I don't think any of us had him on the list last year, if I recall. Did you?
Yes, sir.
Would you have him?
10.
Okay, fair.
He'd finish above 10,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
No, you definitely did. So, listen, my opinion, he has the same kind of swagger that Justin Tucker does. He's the closest thing to him. He wants the kick at the end. He doesn't shy away from it. He likes it. He's got a swagger. He talks shit like Tucker does. He's great.
First of all, you are literally echoing everything I think. This is me and Shally will disagree on a lot of stuff. This is something I am 100% on board with, 100% agree with. Evan McPherson, like, there's not a cooler moment. There's not a cooler moment from any kicker, especially last year, than him walking right up to Joe Burrow and be like, so, guess we're going to the Super Bowl. And then hits a walk-off field goal.
Walk-off.
Like that is ridiculous, bro. I love that.
He's confident. I like it. To add to his legend, I read the story today. They were finishing up OTAs, and they were done doing their skill set stuff, and they were like, all right, we're going to get conditioning. And they talked the coaches into if McPherson could hit a 65-yard field goal on one chance, they didn't have to do conditioning. Drilled it down the middle, walked it off. Then none of the dudes had to run. So
I love it.
Kid's great, dude. Anytime there's a kicker like that can act like that and back it up, I just love it. Again, I geek out for kickers, but it is what it is. Number one for me is the GOAT. The GOAT. It's not debatable. It's Justin Tucker, most accurate kicker in the history of the NFL. He's missed 8 field goals in his career, and the crazier part is 4 of them
are blocked.
No, 4 of them are 60-plus yarders,
and at least 2 of them are blocked.
Yeah, so
the one was versus the Patriots, where the guy jumped over the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
And that counts as a miss for that kid.
Yeah, he hit the 66-yarder last year in Detroit to break their heart.
Saved me in my suicide pool.
Holds the record there.
Shout out the GOAT.
NFL kickers all time from 65 yards plus were 0 for 30. They're 1 for 31. It's Tucker's kick. To me, and this is what makes him clutch, kind of again, we just echoed it with McPherson. He is 48 for 48 in go-ahead or game-winning kicks in the fourth quarter or overtime of football games. That is literally the definition of clutch. The dude doesn't miss. He hasn't missed an extra point in a year and a half ever since they moved it back. He's missed 1. Again, I know we're talking about kickers, but if you want to see, if you want to talk about it 10 years from now, saying you watch the best dude ever do it, it's Justin Tucker.
Bro, you do not have to, don't even have to go any further. I completely agree with you on the last 2. Cottrell, I want you to go through your list, and then when I go through mine, I'll kind of debate with you guys on yours.
Okay, so number 10, I have Nick Folk. I think Nick Folk was a consistent kicker. Typically, most year he's been in the league for a while now. Most years he hasn't been a top 10 kicker, in my opinion. I think in New England he really, wrote that ship. I think he had a good season last year. I think he's going to build upon that this upcoming year. Number 9, I got your guy Jake Elliott, Philadelphia Eagle himself. He had a good year last year. Once again, I think he's just going to build on that. He's consistent, and I think this offense, adding A.J. Brown, they're going to score more points, and in turn, that's going to make him score more points. They're going to have better field position, and he's just going to improve off of his year from last year. Number 8, I got Will Lutz, guy that Shally mentioned. He did miss all the 2021 year with an injury. I think he comes back to New Orleans. Their offense is revamped with, Jameis coming back, Jarvis there, Chris Olave, all those guys there. I think New Orleans is going to score a lot of points, and Will Lutz is going to kick a lot of good field goals. Will Lutz is underrated when it comes to the clutch gene. Like, Will Lutz will hit the pressure pack kicks. So I really like Will Lutz to rebound this year coming back from injury. Number 7, Matt Gay. Bill already talked about how great Matt was last year. Of course, he's going to build upon that coming back to the Super Bowl winning Rams team. Number 6, I got a guy who Shally omitted from his list, and the best name in football, Younghoe Koo from the Atlanta Falcons. He is a great kicker, very accurate. Granted, he won't hit you the 60-yard kick or anything like that, but if you give him anything, 53 and then he's nailing it, I'd say 98, 95% of the time. Like he's just a deadly accurate kicker, and he has great onside kicks as well. Number 5, I got a guy, Evan McPherson. You guys talked about how great Evan was. I'm a little bit lower on him. It's not
Of
just
course,
because
he's in your division.
it's not even that, because I got Boswell high. So it's not even that, it's the hate for being in our division, but I just want to see him do it again. And I think the guys that are ahead of him, and we're not talking about just who's the better overall kicker. We're talking about production. And I think the 4 guys ahead of him are going to have more production.
Okay.
You got Harrison Bucker at 4. We know how great he can be. He hits the long ones. He hits clutch ones. Chris Boswell at 3. While I do think the Pittsburgh offense will take a step back from what they did last year, Chris Boswell is very consistent now. Bill talked about his struggles a couple years ago. Now he's consistently hitting whatever you throw at him. And he does it in the cold, in whatever climate you got to put him in. So that's why he's there at 3 for me. My number 2 is Daniel Carlson. I really think that Las Vegas Raiders team takes a big jump by adding Devontae Adams, and they're going to score a lot more points this year, and they're going to be in a lot better field goal positions. And Daniel Carlson is one of the most reliable kickers in the league, and he showed that last year. And he hit 6 out of 7 field goals from 50 plus. So the guy can really kick. And of course, number 1 is the GOAT, and there's no debate about that, Justin Tucker.
So I'm arguing with PD on the wire line about Justin Tucker not being the GOAT.
Who is he saying the GOAT is?
Adam Vinatieri. Tucker kicks a single field goal that actually matters, fine. Vinatieri was the difference every early Super Bowl for the Pats. Tuck rule game is irrelevant if it doesn't drill that kick in a blizzard.
Vinatieri would hit a 38-yard field goal in the Super Bowl. It doesn't make him a legend. And kickers don't control football games.
I think he's talking about the blizzard kicks, which, by the way, were incredible, which is why everyone has Adam Vinatieri 2 or 3 on their list. But
which is fine.
Tucker surpassed.
It's not 66.
He's a Hall of Famer.
It's not 48 or 48.
He's going to go in. I mean, but the next guy after that's going to be Tucker whenever he retires, and Tucker is going to be the more revered kicker. And
I agree.
It's really not that debatable.
So my number 10, I have KD York. Took a rookie. Love the kid. LSU, 50-plus yarders. You don't get drafted in the 4th round of the NFL draft if you're not a monster as far as kicker. Cade York could be last year's McPherson. He 100% could be that guy. He's accurate. He's got a strong leg, and he kicks the ball real well. What I'm really interested to see is how he kicks in the Cleveland Winners. I'm pretty sure they didn't draft him if they didn't think he could. I'm sure they put him through some type of training for it. But the point being is I'd have him higher up on the list if I knew how he can kick in those Cleveland Winners. What I look at when I see kickers, I look at kickers that can kick in cold weather, rainy conditions, wind, all that stuff. Tyler Bass was the first name I left off this list. He was 11. I should have him on the list. I don't know how to put him on there, but if I put him on there, I'm putting him over Cade York, and I wanted to talk about Cade York. Love the kid. Jake Elliott got better and better last year. Good kicker for the Eagles. Jake Elliott's had a very solid season after a 2020 campaign that was not the greatest in the world. Matt Gay, who was 2nd or 1st in the league in points, kicked it from everywhere, but he kicks in a dome. That's why he's lower on my list than he is on your guys. Nick Folk, we'll talk about a resurgence of a guy. This is a guy that bounced around and then came back last year and was lights out for the Patriots in New England. That doesn't happen. Nick Folk had a great year last year. I don't know if it's Bill Belichick. Maybe he's cheating. Maybe he's putting something in the footballs. I don't know. But Nick Folk is kicking the ball great in New England. And the way he kicked it last year, I have to have number 7. I probably shouldn't have Butker this low. It's fine. I look at this list as a top 6 and a bottom 4. There's 2 tiers of kickers. The top 6, every one of those top 5, every one of those kickers were 93% or higher. Butker was the only one that wasn't. Butker kicks 57, 58, 60-yard kicks. He's 100% up there. I just have him 6th, and I know you guys have him higher. I understand. I did this last year, and I got screamed at. Young Ho Koo. I know it's Young Wei.
Is it Young Wei, or do you like Young Hoes?
I like Young Hoes. Just over 18. Keep them legal.
Fair.
Young Wei Koo, accurate kicker. Number 3 last year in accuracy. Number 4 last year in points. The guy just makes his kicks. The reason he's not higher up on the list is because he doesn't kick it over 55. His long last year was 54, but he was 93.1% kicking field goals last year. Daniel Carlson, who does kick the long ball, number 4. Guy's a stud. Last year, me and Shally were on him. Cottrell's jumped on the bus this year, has him number 2. So, understandably, Daniel Carlson is in top 5 on everyone's list, but he kicks in Vegas. That's why he's 4 for me. Number 3, it's matter of circumstance. I don't know what he's doing in Pittsburgh. I know what Boswell did in Pittsburgh, 37 of 40 last year. The kid was 19 of 20 at home in Pittsburgh. It's wild to me. Chris Boswell's my number 3. Money Mac's number 2. Money Mac is the next Tucker. He's baby Tucker. I'm talking about a guy, I keep talking about this, and I'll talk about it, and I'll talk about it, and I'll talk about it. There's something about walking onto an NFL field. Kicked a walk-off versus Tennessee. Kicked a walk-off versus Kansas City. And he walks up to Joe Burrow after they called the timeout before he's about to kick a 48-yard field goal and goes, well, I guess we're going to the Super Bowl.
In January, mind you.
And just boots it right through the middle of the uprights. Clutch kickers like Evan McPherson. This kid, it was the guy that kicked the soda cap off the bottle at Florida. He's extremely accurate. He's got, and I love when a kicker's got a little swag to him, a little shit talk. And when I could tell you his greatest moment and Justin Tucker's greatest moment, they're my top 2. Justin Tucker, I love me some up dog. What's up dog? I don't know. You tell me. Justin Tucker walking into an interview after kicking a walk-off field goal. Then kicks a record-breaking 66-yard field goal on the road. I mean, they didn't get him close enough. He goes, Coach, I got it. Give me a shot. 66 yards, kicks a line drive, hits the bottom upright, breaks the record. The greatest kicker of all time, Justin Tucker.
The game was so bad, too. I remember Cottrell freaking out. I mean, Detroit literally outplayed them for 59.5 minutes. They had the kickoff. I remember Lamar Jackson had like a really good scramble. I think he ran for like 25 yards, had like another completion, and then they were just like, we either throw the Hail Mary or we kick the ball.
Can I disagree when you said Detroit outplayed them?
They outplayed Hollywood Brown.
That's correct.
That's true. It was the drop game.
Hollywood Brown dropped 3 touchdowns in that game. One of them being one of the nicest dimes you'll ever see. It was like 38, 40 yards, right in the breadbasket with 3 yards of separation, and he just dropped it. It is one of the worst drops I've ever seen in my life.
It was at that point when the Ravens said, this guy won't be back next year.
And they got a first-round draft pick for him. How does that happen?
Fleece.
100% a fleece. That's our kickers list. Next week, what do you want to do? You want to do D-backs or do you want to do D-line?
Good D-backs. I think we'll just build it from the back up.
Safeties.
Yeah.
Should we just safeties?
Gotta go safeties.
Just safeties.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Absolutely.
We did last year.
We split them last year.
You can't go
Yeah,
safeties and
split 'em.
corners.
That's
Yeah, we
fine.
can't add them together.
Oh, no, yeah.
So we'll do safeties,
Okay.
corners, linebackers,
D-line.
linemen, or are we doing edge and interior?
We did both. We combined those last year.
Yeah. We probably can combine them.
And then you
talent
got
up, you know.
You got wide receivers, tight ends, offensive linemen, quarterbacks, running backs. 9 weeks.
That's
Take us right this season.
Okay.
We're getting there.
That's what we want to do.
Cottrell, I know you got to hop off soon. Is there anything that you would like to say about Baker Mayfield being traded from your Browns and is going to slice and dice them week 1? Is there anything you'd like to talk about?
I'm glad that he went to a situation where he could potentially be the starter. Good for him. But now he's the enemy because we play them week 1. So I'm looking forward to that. And honestly, that's going to be the perfect time to, have that defense come out and show why he wasn't the franchise quarterback here. Regardless of how you feel about Deshaun Watson, it was clear to me at least that Baker Mayfield wasn't a franchise quarterback for a Super Bowl winning franchise. And I think it was good that the Browns moved on from him. So I wish him the best after week 1, but good riddance.
Is that game in Cleveland or Carolina?
It's in Carolina.
Oh.
I'm telling you, dude. Carolina beats them by 2 touchdowns.
Ooh.
And Baker throws 4.
If that game was
No
in
shot.
Cleveland and he goes into Cleveland and would have won that game,
I'm telling
he
you.
would have went flag planting again.
I'm telling you that I have never. I might use Carolina in my survivor pool week 1.
Oh,
They're not losing that game.
They got decent defense, man, and they got tough game, man.
It's one of those games where I just know, like, you know, the thing about Baker Mayfield that I think is funny. Going into last year, we were talking about how great Baker could be, and like he was listed on the top 10 quarterback lists, and he gets his shoulder separated early in the season, and he plays through it because he knows they're a playoff team, and he needs to be able to be out there and try to do his best for the team. Leaves everything on the field. They lose.
Selfishly.
They lose. See, I don't agree with that bullshit. Like, so let me ask you a question.
Who was your backup quarterback last year?
It was Cade
Kessler.
Cody Kessler and
Kessler.
Case Keenum.
Keenum.
You think that team makes the playoffs with Case Keenum?
I think they have
time out. What week did Baker get hurt?
It's week 3, I think. Week 3 or
3.
4.
Oh yeah, you're not making the playoffs, Case Keenum. He's not playing 14 weeks.
I'm not saying Case, but that's the thing, though. We never said Case was the long-term solution. It was Case plays for 4 weeks. Baker, you get 5 total weeks because you got the bye week included in there. You got 5 weeks to get yourself together. And if Kate goes 2-2 in that time period, they're in perfect shape to potentially make the playoffs, especially knowing how the AFC went.
I understand, but that was a 6 to 8 week injury when it happened.
If he was having surgery, yeah, I mean, he's not coming
6
back
to
in
8
4 weeks.
weeks, bro.
Okay, so six weeks then. I said 5. So okay,
but my
6
point
weeks.
is, in hindsight's 2020, right?
I said it during that time period.
And that's fair. I just think it's unfair to blame a guy who left it all on the field for his team and be like, "Oh, he's the enemy now." Like
that's the thing. That's the thing.
Let me ask you a question.
It's
I
not
don't disagree
necessarily. It's not how he played on the field. It's certain things. It's one thing to have bad balls and things like that. I'm talking about the reads, the not knowing certain concepts when defenses do one thing and you have the wrong read. That has nothing to do with an injury.
But you said 2 things, and those 2 things are very interesting to me. One, you said the Browns realized he wasn't a Super Bowl winning quarterback, right?
Correct.
In 2020, when they were playing Kansas City, who went to the Super Bowl that year, did you not believe that you guys were a bad call or a play here, a play there away from beating Kansas City?
I do not, but I also want to
he was healthy
add on
that
to
year.
the point. I also want to add on to the point
I
that
need a second point
Patrick
now
Mahomes,
first, I promise.
Patrick Mahomes got hurt that game. It's different beating Chad Henne in the 4th quarter as opposed to beating Patrick Mahomes.
Okay, so my second point that I would make to you would be, so, you know, you obviously don't think he's a Super Bowl winning quarterback. When was the last time the Browns won a playoff game before Baker Mayfield?
That doesn't matter.
It matters to me. You're talking about
Why does it matter to you?
Because you're talking about a franchise that went through more quarterbacks from 2000 to 2016, 2018, whatever it was, than any franchise ever in an 18-year span. It was a joke, the quarterback carousel, right?
That's true.
You had stability. You drafted the guy at number 1. He wins you a playoff game within 3 years of you drafting him. You guys were the biggest laughingstock in the whole NFL, and then you become a playoff team. I just feel like that could have been handled differently and better. Listen, you get Deshaun Watson. He's a blue chip talent. Shitty person, blue chip talent. No one's arguing that. I just think it was handled very poorly by the Browns organization, making Baker Mayfield out to be the bad guy when all he did was create relevance around your franchise again.
Well,
I think that's
this
kind
will
of
be the last thing I'll say about it. I'll say this. The thing is, to your first point, you don't play to go to the playoffs. You don't play to win one playoff game. You play the game to try to go win a Super Bowl. And Baker, I didn't think Baker was the guy to do that. The other thing is that Baker also played with the most talented roster that Cleveland has had in those 20 years you're talking about. So, granted, Baker did have good seasons when he was with he had 2 good seasons, his rookie year and his 3rd year. He had a bad second year.
Yep.
But once again, I don't think that was the guy to win you a Super Bowl. Look at the past Super Bowl winners. They have been guys that have been to the Pro Bowl, been guys who arguably might go to the Hall of Fame. Like, not what Baker Mayfield is.
It would be foolish for me not to compare the first 4 or 5 seasons of Baker Mayfield to the first 4 or 5 seasons of Matt Stafford. It'd be foolish for me not to compare those two. And Matt Stafford's your most recent Super Bowl winner.
Matt Stafford was a Pro Bowler before that. We knew what Matt Stafford was.
Matt Stafford was
stuck
in
4
or 5 years into his career.
He was a good quarterback. We never said that Matt Stafford was a
playoff
bust.
game the first 3 years of his career.
He was with a horrible team.
He put up his numbers were always a little deceiving, strictly because he had Calvin. I mean, it's. I look at it this way. I'll sit here today and say I still don't think Baker Mayfield is going to win a Super Bowl. I said it when it happened. I said the way it went down, the way they handled it. I don't care what you say or what you believe in or what you think he is. I think Cleveland handled this poorly, and I think they did him dirty. And now when you factor in the back end of this, what's going on with Deshaun Watson, it's.
I'll bet. I'll put whatever you want that the Panthers win more games this year than the Browns.
That is action with you can take on with Cottrell.
I'm telling you right now, because Brissett's not winning more games than Mayfield.
Let's bet on it. Let's bet on it after the day of the Watson hearing. I'll bet you on that.
So let me ask you a question.
That's fair.
If he gets suspended for the whole year, would you make the bet?
I probably still would.
Okay, so what's the matter?
To be honest,
Why would you do that?
But
what's the matter?
I would want to see first. You know,
okay, that's fair.
If he gets 8 games. He gets 8 games. I'm all in.
You can't. Yeah, you have to wait till the
my
discipline
point
comes
being,
out before you bet it.
My point being,
I know what your point is. I get it.
All right, well, Cottrell, I know you got to sign off. I really appreciate you hopping on.
Yes, sir.
Good luck at your work meeting tonight. 9:00 at night.
Tell your boss he stinks having 9 o'clock work meetings.
We'll do. All right, I'll see you guys.
See you, bud.
So, and we'll get into the KD thing now, but my whole point with the Baker Mayfield thing is I don't agree with Cleveland's villainizing of him.
I agree 100%.
You want to move on to a blue chip quarterback that like Deshaun Watson, like that type of talent, and you have an opportunity at that, and you feel like he'll give you a better opportunity to win. That's fine. I just don't agree with the villainizing of him.
I don't agree with the villainizing, and to the other point I wanted to make too. There was a lot of teams that thought they were crazy for taking him number 1. So if you believed in the guy that much to risk the number 1 pick on him, you build around him, you bring OBJ in, you do all these things, and to Cottrell's point, was it the most talented team they've had in a while? Yeah, okay, that's fine. That's a fair point, but that's how you build a Super Bowl winning team. It's all relative. I think the point that bothers me is, and it's close to the point that bothers you. If he goes out last year playing hurt and plays better, and they win a bunch of games, and they do all those things, now he's like a local like folk hero. Like everything around him would be positive. They wouldn't even be talking about Deshaun Watson. It would have been like, oh, Baker's awesome. Baker went out and played hurt, and like your quarterback wouldn't do that. Like that is the issue I have with it. Like you said, in his mind, he thought he was doing the right thing. He was trying to help the team win. You do all this, and then again, if you have the opportunity to get Deshaun Watson, it is what it is. You said it perfectly. He's a blue chip talent. He's a scumbag of a human being. If that's the direction you want to go, that's fine. You don't tell Baker 2 days before that you're not in on him, and then it leaks that you guys have the best offer for him. And then they refuted that, but I don't believe that for a second. I don't believe the way the reputation's coming out, the way they handle things. I don't believe them for a second. I believe they told Baker that. That's why Baker got so pissed and it got so frosty.
Dude, I completely agree with you.
So,
to answer your question, they give up a 5th round draft pick for him, and the Browns are eating half their salary.
I thought it was 5th, but it was conditional. If he plays enough, it'll go to 4th.
Yeah, conditional 5th.
Yeah.
And they ate half his salary.
Yeah.
Which is a great deal for the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, I mean, it's a cheap 1-year experiment then. I mean, they drafted Matt Corral, so I mean, we'll see how that whole.
A 3rd rounder though.
I get it, but I'm saying they're not. If Baker works out great, they're not. They didn't draft. My point is, they didn't draft Corral in the 1st, where they're like,
Correct.
okay, like he's our guy in 2 years, like we're stuck to him. if Baker works out and he's the long-term guy, then, I mean,
Great.
you either bring Matt Corral along or you trade him.
I really believe, and I think there's a lot of disrespect. I think last year people were overrating Baker, having him in their top 10. I think this year people are disrespecting him, having him ranked 32 to 36, which I think is
That's
so.
crazy.
Let me ask you a
That's
question
just-
real
that's
quick.
just
Let me
crazy.
ask you a question real quick. Who would you rather have at quarterback, Baker Mayfield or Jalen Hurts? I'm serious. I'm not. So I'll be the first one to tell you. I think Baker Mayfield's a better quarterback than Jalen Hurts. Period.
That's tough.
It is. But I think that's where he's at. 15 to 18 range.
No, I agree with that. I'll tell you this: coming into this year, right now, Baker's healthy. I would take Baker slightly. If Jalen has made all these steps that I keep hearing about, and he's doing this, and this, I still think Jalen's ceiling might be a little bit higher than Baker's, but I don't have faith in that either, from what I've seen.
I don't disagree with the ceiling comment.
Yeah, Baker's floor is way higher than Jalen's.
Yeah,
Look, way higher.
Let's get into the KD, Kyrie, the trades. We'll talk about that for a minute.
Kyrie, my favorite person.
So, where do you think they end up? How do you think it gets done? When do you think it gets done? Both of them.
Well, I think it's common.
I got news. I think it's gonna be 3 of them, by the way. All 3 of them.
I can't see Ben wanting to stay there if they both go. The problem is, I don't think you can move Kyrie till you move KD, and I don't think KD's close to getting traded now. Because apparently, depending on who you talk to, the sticking point with Phoenix was they were getting kind of close to that, but apparently, from Phoenix's side, Booker was a non-starter, but from Brooklyn's side, it was if Booker's not in it, we're not doing it. He obviously wants to go to Phoenix to play with Booker and CP3.
Yep.
Like, no shit, I get it. They
I
extended him.
do think it's hilarious that his listed destination teams were both 1 seeds from each conference.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
That's kind of KD-ish.
It's very KD-ish. Very. Not kind of. It's very.
PD said, "What if they want to leave because of Ben?"
I don't think that's the case.
I know. I don't think it is. Either.
I mean, it is funny though. It's funny to
Think about.
exaggerate about, but I'm gonna tell you right now, dude. I think the only way this happens now is if Ayton agrees to do something, and if you listen to Windhurst and all those guys, they're saying like Ayton is not nowhere near enough for them to do it. I think he starts the year on the Nets. I really do. I don't know how we're gonna get there. I don't think he'll hold out. I don't. Kyrie really has no freaking options. So if KD's gonna play, we're assuming Ben's gonna play. I mean, don't hold your breath on that. But I'm going out on a limb, and I know I'm probably going to be wrong because I think somebody at some point is just going to get desperate and ante up and do it and probably just risk it. But I think there's a chance they all start the year on Brooklyn, and then maybe the year starts good, and then they just go, all right, like, we're just going to see this out for a year type thing.
Kyrie and Steve Nash are
They hate each other.
in repairable relationship.
I get it.
I think Kyrie gets moved to Los Angeles Lakers for Russell Westbrook. I don't think KD will play with Russell Westbrook again. So I think that they'll move on from KD around the same time. I don't think they'll walk in that same. So here's my far breakdown. Ready? I think KD ends up in Phoenix. I think that what Phoenix has to give up to get him is they are literally going to mortgage their entire future to get him. I think it's going to be 4 first-round draft picks. I think it'll be 3 pick swaps, which is 7 basically first-round draft pick options. It'll be Mikal Bridges, a sign-and trade with DeAndre Ayton, Cameron Payne. I think it's a lot. And I think what ends up happening is I think they get the Utah Jazz involved. Now, don't be shocked if Spider ends up in Brooklyn. And because when Danny Ainge is in Utah, he's always going to get his hands in something. Just hear me out, this wildness, and then I'll tell.
No, it's fine. I'm just like, who ends up in Utah then?
DeAndre Ayton, Cameron Payne, and a first-round draft pick.
So then the only thing going back to so you're saying they get
Mikal Bridges
and Spider
and
a shit ton of ones.
Correct.
I mean, I'll tell you this. That's in my opinion, that's the only way it gets done. They're not doing it like because apparently Phoenix's best offer was Bridges, Ayton, and then all the ones, and they said no.
I think Ben gets traded before the season starts. If I had to make a prediction, I don't think he plays a game for Brooklyn. I'll be the first to say this. I don't know if Ben Simmons ever plays a basketball game in the NBA again.
I don't believe that.
That's fine. It's obviously a long shot type conversation, but I don't think he loves the game of basketball, and I think that I think he's mentally fragile. I think everyone agrees with that.
I wouldn't argue that he's
I
mentally.
think Kyrie's definitely getting traded for Russell Westbrook. I
heard
think it's almost a guarantee.
I heard they said no because I don't think. Again, I don't think Kyrie can go anywhere until they figure out KD. Because if KD ends up getting stuck there and playing, they're not going to trade. They're not going to trade Kyrie for Westbrook. They want nothing to do with Westbrook in that his declining play and the money. They apparently already said no because LA was like, we'll give you Westbrook and then like ones in like 2029.
I think it's going to be
Westbrook.
I think it'll be Westbrook, Taylor Horton Tucker, and a first round draft pick in 2029 or Kyrie Irving. That's the pick. That's the trade.
I don't know.
I think Brooklyn just wants a guy that wants to play basketball.
I get it, but I think the misconception is
they got plenty of money too because I think they're going to dump Ben and KD.
Brooklyn literally holds all the cards in all this. So
when you say they hold all the cards, do you mean that they are going to receive all the compensation from the picks? Because I don't think they hold all the cards. I actually think Brooklyn's in the worst scenario. You have 3 star at minimum, 2 superstar players that all are going to be traded out of Brooklyn before the season starts.
Yeah, but they don't have any way out other than Brooklyn getting back what they want. They can't force the issue. Kyrie literally opted in. He's going to.
He opted in for the money.
That's fine, but if he doesn't play, then he's not getting paid.
And that's another. RJ said Ben to the Lakers. That's another thing that could go along with that Kyrie trade. Is them getting the Ben Simmons money off the books to be able to trade that. But the problem with that is, RJ, before I get too far into it,
LA can't do that.
LA can't afford that.
Correct.
So they would need to restructure Kyrie, which they could do. They could do the trade and restructure Kyrie's contract.
Well, Ben, there's also that weird thing with Ben, which is like Ben can only go to certain teams.
Correct. LA's one of them.
LA is one of them. He can't go to Miami. That's
because a ban might buy you.
That's what killed
now
him.
you could go to Miami if you swapped Ben and
they're not trading
Bam.
Ben for Ben.
I agree, but the issue would be you couldn't trade KD. You could trade KD and Ben, but I don't think Jimmy Butler would ever go to Miami. I mean, Jimmy Butler would ever have Ben Simmons in Miami.
No.
Part of the reason he left Philadelphia is because he wasn't going to play with Ben.
Well, he kind of stood up for Ben though. His bigger gripe was with Brett. He was like, you want this kid to play with confidence, and now all of a sudden I'm the point guard and Ben's just out here kind of running around. We didn't do that all year. Like, why are we doing that now? Like,
I get it.
So, I mean, I don't think his bigger
Brett
thing
Brown was just, I don't know if you heard this yet, but Brett Brown was just on a New York radio station. I think it was a fan for an hour. It was supposed to be a 10-minute interview. It turned into an hour. And he released a lot of information. If you haven't heard it, I recommend listening to it.
Well, give me the cliff notes.
The biggest cliff note is one of his biggest regrets. He said, I used to pull over on 95 driving to Maine and be like, what the hell did I do? Why did I do that? He said his biggest regret in the city of Philadelphia was not figuring out a way to make it work with Jimmy Butler.
Oh, shit. That's not breaking news.
No, I follow. But if you listen to the whole thing, the way the Sixers could have handled that, the only way the Sixers could have handled that, and they weren't going to do it at this time, was you needed to remove Brett Brown and Ben Simmons for Jimmy Butler. And the Sixers at that point weren't ready to do that.
Yeah, I think if you remove Brett and you bring somebody else in, I still think that works.
I don't think that Jimmy Butler was going to re-sign here with Ben Simmons wanting to be the primary ball handler or saying, I want to go home. And that's what essentially he did. The moment they kind of took the ball out of his hand, he took his ball and went home.
I think it was that. I mean, again, I don't know, man, because like I said, Jimmy's first thing with that is obviously he loves JoJo, but like he's never really said anything bad about Ben. Like, and again, he kind of stood up for Ben. I think Jimmy Butler hated Brett Brown.
Agreed. They talked about that on the Old Man and 3 podcast.
Yeah, I think that was the biggest issue of it all.
All right, well, we got to wrap up. It's 8:33. I appreciate everybody listening. Do you have a You Gotta Be Kidding Me this week?
I don't.
I don't either.
All right.
Actually, maybe. You Gotta Be Kidding Me might be Shally this week for predicting his Green Spiders to beat the wire-to-wire team, which ended a 13-3 wire-to-wire win. Now, to be fair, let me just be clear when I say this. They beat us by 10 the last time we played.
It was only 9.
Either way. 10 runs, 9 runs. We beat them by 10 this time. We probably will see a third chapter of this on playoffs Tuesday night.
It's looking that way.
But what I will tell you is this wire-to-wire team defensively is a lot better than it was in spring. Wire-to-wire sports podcast, baby. Our softball team puts defense first. And to anybody listening out there, the Shabbies, the Frankies of the world. By the way, Frankie, the Venmo, it's at Gene Walsack. You can find it at Gene Walsack. I'll take my money any way you like. Cash the field, it's fine. But wait, listen, I got a Venmo. Oh, no, I'm sorry. It's not Frankie. But anybody out there, I don't mind. I think that the Kings Corner team is a very, very good team. But I'll take our defense over theirs any day of the week, twice on Sunday, but not on Tuesday. With that being said, I'm done gloating. It was a great game. Wasn't a good game because Charlie will tell you it wasn't a good game. But it's a good rivalry.
Good rivalry.
And now it's 1-1. And I'm not claiming any victory because 1-1 is not a win. 1-1 is just a tie. We just got back to even. Come playoff time, we will see the third chapter. Could be the concluding chapter. I don't know. But with that being said, any final thoughts?
No. I mean, last night was blah at best. Now, listen, I mean, you guys play defense, and you did the things you need to do to win a softball game with a game that's like that, and we did not. So, I mean, it's really that simple.
Bro, you guys got a very good team. You guys will be back. We'll see you again.
Playoffs, 7:45.
Yes, correct. And I cannot wait. I hope it happens. And with that, this is Wire to Wire Sports Podcast signing out with a 13-3 win.